From a local perspective, as you will see in the letter board that I shared with you, we are on solid ground as we have ever been. Leading up to the funding cycle, we identified shortcomings in our state's low wealth fund and shared this concern with our county commissioners. They responded, demonstrating that they would not let our schools hang in limbo. This year's 6% increase is a lifeline of funding for our schools, and one in which we are forever grateful. Please join me in a round of applause for a token of our appreciation for the McDowell County Commissioners. Board, just as I do every year, I will pen a letter to them this week and send that up there to them. I did just receive the letter that you have in your packet this past week, so I will return thanks on behalf of the board to our county commissioners, and I think you all would agree that was significant. This evening, I'm also happy to report that all of our administrative positions have been filled, and we're gaining steam on many of our summer projects. Today's tour of Old Fort Elementary School marked a significant milestone, signifying the school is fully ready to open. Mr. Marsh has an announcement. I'm not going to steal his thunder that he'll be sharing with us earlier in just a few minutes about that. July also marks the halfway point of our summer break, and we will have more meetings in August before our students return in 2025. Although it's a halfway point and we're started into a new year, the topics around tonight stem around a new school year, but I'm happy to report that our students, seated on the front row and in the back there, are still getting accolades from last year. I'm happy to report in that we have members here tonight of our softball and baseball teams who have earned some state-level recognition. Finally, this evening, I would like to ask our community and friends to keep our students and staff in your thoughts and prayers, especially those left reeling from a tragic car accident resulting in the life lost of Brian Korn, a student at McDowell Early College. Our prayers are with the Korn family this evening. Folks, thank you for allowing me to speak this evening.
Sir, if you would continue with student recognition.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Gritt, ladies and gentlemen, it's an absolute pleasure to stand in front of you tonight. I'm going to take a little carte blanche first to start off with something I was talking with Coach Smith about, and that is that today we had a member of the Western Carolina University baseball team, former McDowell Titan, Dusty Revis, selected in the second round by Seattle Mariners, so a pretty cool event for one of our Titans. With that being said, I'd like to ask Coach Smith, Coach Young, and Coach Garden, please come on up front. I'm bringing Coach Young up here with Coach Garden. Coach Garden is our new ladies softball coach at McDowell High School. Very happy to have her, but I also wanted to bring Coach Young up with her. Come on, Coach Smith. And with them, I'm going to ask a couple very special young people to come up and stand alongside them for some all-state selection recognition, ladies and gentlemen. This is incredible. A group of 5, not just really good athletes, but good young people. And so, without any further ado, I want to ask Jacob Davis to come on up. Miss Layla Presnell, Addie Staten, Miranda Wall, and Sage Young. Ladies and gentlemen, these 5 young people are all selected to the all-state category in their position and for softball and for baseball here in the state of North Carolina. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you.
Next up, we have Miss Amy Daddle. She'll be talking about our Teacher of the Year.
Thank you, Dr. Gritt, members of the board, and our esteemed guests. I would also like to just throw it out there that I was Dusty Revis's elementary principal in 5th and 6th grade. So for whatever that's worth, there you go. It is with great pride that we introduce to you McDowell County's 2025 Teacher of the Year, Miss Amber Lawing, a dedicated educator whose passion, joy, and unwavering commitment for her students make her truly exceptional. Miss Lawing is more than a skilled mathematics teacher. She is a cultivator of connection and joy in the classroom. In seeing Miss Lawing's interaction with her students, it is clear that she has a heart of a teacher, building meaningful relationships that spark both academic and personal growth. I can speak to this not only professionally but personally, as my children have been honored to be in Miss Lawing's class. In her own words, creating meaningful connections with students sometimes means embracing moments of joy and silliness while still maintaining educational excellence. This balance is what makes Miss Lawing a standout educator, one whose classroom is a place where students feel seen, celebrated, and inspired to learn. Dr. Grit summed it up best. Miss Lawing has what it takes to make an impact not only on our students, and he believes she is among the best in our state. Keep the important work while we step aside and watch her lead on behalf of McDowell County Schools. We are honored to have Ms. Lawing represent McDowell County Schools, and we would look forward to the leadership and inspiration she will bring as Teacher of the Year. Her strong relationships with students are built on a foundation of trust, empathy, and high expectations. She takes time to understand each child's unique strengths, challenges, and background, fostering a sense of belonging and confidence in her classroom. Ms. Lawing's deep compassion and commitment to student well-being are evident in the way she listens, encourages, and supports each learner. Through consistent care and intentional connections, she creates a classroom culture where students feel safe, valued, and inspired to reach their full potentials. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Ms. Amber Lawing to sit as McDowell County Teacher of the Year.
Item number 9 on the agenda is request to address the board public comment. And we do have two members here tonight that would like to address the board. They are Gracie Hendricks and Sarah Quasson. So if you would, come on up to the podium to start off with, and I need to advise you of a few things. Okay, I'm going to kind of give you a few ground rules, and then, which is not customary, I'm going to let Dr. Grit speak a little to you just a second, and then you can start. And, of course, our timekeeper is Ms. Daddle, okay? And public comment is a time for the board to hear from folks regarding issues related to the McDowell County School District. We ask that folks be mindful that we encourage families of small children to attend our meetings and watch our meetings online. We respect the right of speakers to give us their viewpoint on any issues related to the schools. However, we do balance those rights with the rights of families of young children when it comes to public comment. We ask that speakers make their points without making explicit comments. It is not appropriate or permissible for teachers in our schools to read explicit material to young children, and doing so in public comment is not appropriate either. In addition to public comment, the public is welcome to send the board emails through the superintendent. And at this time, you got 3 minutes, unless you want to combine your things, and you got a 5 minutes. But what I want to do is Dr. Grit needs to go over something real quick with you, and then Ms. Hendricks, I think, will be the first to speak. But we do have to vote, so go ahead and tell them when we're going to vote.
Yes, sir. Folks, I read the reasoning for the comment tonight, and we've got some folks here with us, and that are here on behalf of that reasoning, and I want to let you know that your voices have been heard. It is important to know that when it comes to homeschool students participating in athletics, we take that very seriously. We also must follow closely the North Carolina High School Athletic Association's guidelines. We had a young man come to our policy committee meeting, Mr. Waycaster. I don't see him. There he is. He's in the back of the room. And he brought something to our attention and asked that we consider amending our policy on it. So you will find tonight that we, board, and you all have seen the policy, we have asked for an amendment to be made to that policy. One of the things that we could amend, there's only a handful of things that we could amend. One of the things that we were recommending be amended was the piece of the policy that required the student to remain on campus. So not necessarily the number of classes for being dually enrolled. So in other words, board, you can be a homeschool student and participate in McDowell County Schools athletics or extracurriculars. The verbiage in the policy requires that you take at least a half a day worth of class. And at our high school, that's two class periods. In order to do that, that would be 4 classes over the course of a year. So that is one of the things that the policy is very clear on. It's also in line with the policy from the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. The High School Athletic Association recently dropped their portion of this rule to include students not having to attend in person. So those could be online or potentially a virtual option. Mr. Waycaster brought that to our committee's attention. He did an exceptional job presenting that to our curriculum committee. And our curriculum committee, after discussion, decided to consider an amendment for the policy. And board, tonight before you, you have a revised version of that. Now, for the folks out there who may not understand how we do that, policies are given 3 reads. First, they're read in our policy committee, and then tonight, Ms. Data will have, she will bring all of our policies before you. May I borrow your book? This is not the entire policy book, but these are the policies that we've looked at over the past couple months, and these are the policies that are set to be amended. So you can see it's quite an extensive amount of work, but the goal is to have those as first read tonight, and then there will be a final reading of those policies in August, where it will be my recommendation to the board that we honor the ruling as it was provided now by the High School Athletic Association, which remains that you have to take the classes, but you do not have to be in attendance at the school. So just wanted to share that with you. I know we have several folks from the homeschool groups with us tonight, and I felt like it would just be a good opportunity to kind of clear the air. And I will say that, if you called our schools and you asked them that, they're going to tell you what the policy says because it hasn't been changed. So that's one of the reasons that it's important. And they're doing what I asked them to do, which is follow the policy, until the board's had an opportunity to review it and then, of course, make amendments. But I just wanted to kind of clear the air a little bit there. And, Mr. Frank, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And at this time, I will entertain a motion to allow these 2 young ladies to speak. Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Shuford and a second by Mr. Abernathy to allow these folks to speak. With that motion being made, is there any further discussion concerning them speaking to us tonight? Okay, at this time, all those in favor signify by raising your right hand, and Ms. Helms and Mr. Suttles, could you tell me how you vote? Are they on, Gary?
Yes.
Okay, what about Mr. Suttles? Okay. Okay, did she explain the time
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're free to speak now.
All right. First, I'd like to take the time to say thank you for letting me speak today. I very much so appreciate it. Hi, my name is Gracie Hendricks. I am homeschooled at Grace Academy and full-time dual enrolled at McDowell Tech. I also play tennis for McDowell High School. I'm currently going into my senior year, and this will be my fourth and final, unfortunate, year playing tennis for the high school. I very much so enjoyed it. The rules for homeschooled students have changed every year I've played, and they all have only gotten more strict up until this motion. The past year, I had to take one in-person class as well as one online on top of my 12 credit hours of McDowell Tech classes, while also having a part-time job and doing that all at the same time. My 10th grade year, I had to take 2 online classes, and my 9th grade year, I wasn't enrolled in McDowell High School at all because I wasn't aware of the policy regarding that. Taking classes through the high school has been time-consuming on top of all of my other classes and obligations. I feel like it is an unnecessary hurdle that requires me to take classes that are relevant to my education plan and career path. Another major problem with having to take classes through the high school is that it strips away the parents' rights to choose how and what to teach their children. This is especially a concern when you take into consideration that a lot of homeschools are created because their beliefs don't align with that of the public schools. The 14th Amendment gives the parents a right to choose the direction of the education for their children. By requiring classes through the high school, this contradicts that right. According to the General Assembly on North Carolina's Senate Bill 48, the school is entitled to set requirements. But as I previously said, the current requirements don't align with the 14th Amendment. My proposition is that classes, both online and in person, should not be required. The student would have to be a resident of McDowell County and enrolled in a licensed homeschool or private school. The student must also meet the same academic requirement as mandated by the NCHSSA. My understanding is that the requirement to take classes is left up to you whether those are online or in person. I am asking that you please consider the values of the rights of homeschooling. I would also like to add that on the way here, my mother brought up to the fact that the online classes that we are offered is through Edmentum, and those are very limited options, and in the past years that I've taken them, they have not grown, and so many of them are irrelevant to my career path of nursing, and so it doesn't necessarily do me any good to take those classes. So with your motion to make the 2 online, I would also like to add that it would be amazing if we could expand those options. Thank you for letting me speak.
I'm not good at this. Okay, so I just wanted to come up here and talk about the fact that my son did play sports. He did 3 classes.
Would you introduce yourself,
Oh,
please?
sorry,
ma'am?
I'm Sarah Cresson, and I homeschool 4 children. My middle son has played sports all through middle school. He didn't attend any classes for that, and I really think that the fact that we are putting the high school rules on the middle school is really more or less for funding and not educational purposes. But anyway, my son did attend at the beginning of last year. Nobody seemed to know what was going on, and he was told he needed to attend 3 classes. He attended 3 classes both semesters. When I went and sat down and had those classes scheduled, and then he went to the open house, everything had changed. He even went to a class second semester for 3 weeks before he was pulled out of it and put in a different class. It was really just poorly managed by the faculty at the high school. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity that my kids get to play, but I do feel like expecting homeschool kids with everything that they have going on to do 3 classes, whether online or in person, in the middle school is, because of a high school rule, is a lot. I mean, you know, that's never been the way it was before, and so I'm just a little bit upset about that. I understand the high school, but putting these, I mean, that's a large majority of a kid's day, 3 classes. Thank you for letting me say that.
This is Cresson and Ms. Hendricks. I appreciate you taking the time to come. I want to reiterate that if you would stay in touch with our superintendent, Dr. Gritt, that he will let you know the outcomes of everything. And we'll go from there, okay?
Could I do a clarification?
Please.
This is to the superintendent. Could you explain that these policies that we have to follow, what is the consequences if we do not follow those?
Sir, I think that's a great point. It's very valid. We are going to follow the North Carolina High School Athletic Association's guidelines. They have been moved now to be part of Department of Public Instruction. They have not been in the past. So to kind of clarify, that as they went through that transition from being a private nonprofit organization who oversaw the athletics in North Carolina to now moving under that the guise of North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, there's been a little, just to be completely honest with you, there's been a little bit of trying to figure this out and navigate it. So I certainly would agree with you folks in what you mentioned, that the rules have kind of felt like they've changed. Because for us, they've also felt like they've kind of changed. But now that we have a solid footing on what the expectations are, as well as what we would recommend being having the same accountability platform for not only our high schools, but to also we're trying to apply those same set of rules at the middle school as well. I think it's important that we look at it and we try to be consistent. So to answer your question, Mr. Barksdale, if we were not in compliance with High School Athletic Association, then potentially you could lose a sports team. You could lose. You could face fines or penalties or anything of that measure. So we will have to follow those guidelines. I think it's important, and we owe it to the county, to the community, to make sure that we do follow and uphold those guidelines. Great question. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is it, hold on just a minute, is it for a point of clarification?
To participate in public school athletics, a homeschool student has to take 3 classes.
So there's some, you'll notice in the policy when you look at it tonight, it doesn't specify the number of classes, and I'm going to tell you why they do that. It doesn't specify the reason because some high schools are still on a traditional 7-class day, whereas our high school is on a block schedule, meaning we have 4 classes per day. So what the language says is the student must be in attendance, not in attendance, but taking basically half the school days worth of classes. So at our high school, Mr. Abernathy, that's a great point of clarification. At our high school, that's 2 classes per semester. That's 2 classes first semester, 2 classes the second semester. That's half the day. At our middle schools, they take 6 classes, and they're year-long classes. So they will take 3 classes the entire school year, because at the middle school, keep in mind those are year-long classes. So we've got to be careful with the language, and you'll notice that I left that language alone in the policy, and I used the language that came from the High School Athletic Association, so it would be very clear on what we would need to do there.
So real quick, I'm asking a question. Do we receive racial development?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's the point you were making regarding finance.
Yes, sir.
All right, and there again, I encourage you to stay in contact with Dr. Witt, and thank you very much. We aren't allowed to go into detail with you about it. You'll have to converse with him, and then he'll get back to the board. Okay, so item number 10, unfinished business.
Okay, next up, under unfinished business, we have Ms. Rampy. She'll be giving us a finance update. Ms. Rampy?
Good evening. We have just a quick update today. The first thing I wanted to go over was the letter that you got a copy of from the county commissioners, just to explain that a little more in detail. When you're seeing the 4 line items there, I'm actually going to start from the bottom. The capital of $54,800, that's a recurring amount. We get that same amount every single year. So that is not part of the increase that we received, so the capital would stay the same. The $336,000 is part of our regular current expense, but they do split that out separately. That was part of the initiative for us to increase our supplements years ago, and so that is still earmarked in their current expense for us, but that amount does not change. The two amounts that change that make up the $600,000 increase are the low wealth funding offset of $300,000, and then the increase in current expense. Last year we received $9.9 million in that line item, and now it is going up to $10.2 million. So the $600,000 that we received for those two line items is where they're getting the 6% increase. Any questions on that?
Some context, that was a massive vote from the board, and an amazing 6%. I didn't really not happen last, but it got to have been many, many years.
I believe there was 1 year in the last 19 years that I've been here that it was even close, but I believe this may be the highest increase. So, no, not 19, within the 19 years. I think you may have been, I'm not sure, you may have been the county manager then. But we do appreciate it. That has significantly helped us offset this decrease in low wealth funding that we've received, and so it helped us to keep several positions.
Not only this year, Mr. Abernathy, I think you made a very valid point, but that was 3% last year and an additional 6% this year to really help offset the cost of these. So.
We have a great relationship with the county commissioners, and we're really appreciative of the help for this year. The other update I wanted to give you is with just finishing the year is where we stand with our Hurricane Helene funding and our expenses. We've spent about $3.6 million so far through June 30th on our Helene efforts, and we received about $2.8 million. We're expecting about $700,000 to $750,000 more in funding reimbursement from both insurance and FEMA. But of that, obviously the majority of that was Old Fort Elementary. Just Belfour has been about $3.2 million of that $3.6 million. So we do expect to be reimbursed, either reimbursed or receive funding from FEMA for all of our expenses. We do hope to be funding neutral for those expenses to be able to get us back to where we were. And then also we do have the two projects that the state has approved as well, as far as at the PG school, and then some facilities updates at West and the high school. But we are in good shape with our Helene funding and FEMA funding. We have a good rep there that's helping us with that reimbursement, and I do think that we should be within the next 3 to 4 months funding neutral there. So any questions on the Helene funding? Okay. That's all I got.
Okay, Mr. Marsh will be giving us a facilities update, and we also have, board, if you'll notice, there's a request for capital projects there. In your packet, you should have some information. It should be the very first thing that you see in your packet. You should have a quote from a local contracting for air conditioning, heating and air conditioning units. Mr. Marsh, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent and Mr. Chair, members of the board. If we can, so we'll just go ahead and start with that. Tonight, I come before the board and request an additional $100,000 be added to the previously approved capital HVAC project of a $150. The reason is, as Dr. Gritt pointed out, and as I have been working with Mr. Barksdale through building the ground, is that we are encountering a very large number of HVAC systems in our 22 facilities that require attention, and in some cases it's immediate. We have, just this last week, dealt with the 3 primary movers of water source for the unit at Eastfield Global Magnet School, which is, the board had already approved the tower. We had to rebuild the pump, and the chiller just let loose last week. So those are the 3 primary aspects of that system, and we expect to see that continue as we move through this. We're rebuilding the pump as we speak at the high school. So these are vital systems that do everything from keep our folks cool, but they also keep our systems cool, and our system and our entire conditioned area inside the school system. So it's vital. So With that being said, sir, I'd like to request for board action tonight on the request for $100,000 additional capital on that project.
I'd like to make a motion on that, if that's all right with the chair.
Hold on.
I make a motion to increase the current HVAC capital projects by 100,000, from the 150 to 250,000 to 250 to address the current HVAC needs.
Second. Thank Jim. Okay, we have a motion to appropriate additional 100,000 in capital with a total of $250,000. Is that correct, Mr. Barksdale?
Yes, sir.
Was it 250 even, or were there some additional odds?
250.
Okay. All right. We have a motion by Mr. Barksdale, and there again a second by Mr. Allison. Is there any further discussion concerning this motion on the capital project HVAC? Go ahead.
Board, I understand that, I just want to be real clear in this. You'll notice that the amount in that, and I think Mr. Marsh explained that, is $60,814. But given the given the history of what we've been dealing with, that's why when Mr. Marsh asked me about that, I said it might be a good idea to go ahead and request a little bit more, just in case we get into another scenario where that doesn't cover everything and we end up in another HVAC project before the next board meeting. I felt like it's critical right now to get our HVAC systems up and running before the school year starts. So that is the reason that he's not asking for an exact dollar amount based on this quote, but to be able to extend it just a little more in case we have something that comes up between now and August that we wouldn't have to call an emergency board meeting and bring you guys back in. Of course, if we don't end up using that, we'll report that back to the board what the total was for that for the amount that we used.
Yes, sir. I don't see that happening, but yes, sir.
Optimistic.
Yes, sir.
Okay, do I have any comment from Mr. Suttles or Mrs. Helm?
No.
Mr. Suttles? Okay, all right. Okay, discussion, is there any further discussion from the board? Okay, at this time, I ask all those in favor of the action request to signify by raising your right hand. Which is gonna be,
Okay.
wait just a minute. Okay. Thank you for your work on that. We're good on that, so you can go ahead.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is my monthly update for my directorate. Transportation continues to work with our bus allocation for summer programs, conducting parts inventories, performing bus inspections and repairs. Mr. Berryhill and his staff have been testing the new temperature sensors that we have ordered for our freezers and coolers, and the initial testing has been promising. With students out of the buildings, they're moving forward with the migration of the remaining schools to our subnets, which will significantly improve our network speed, reliability, and security across our district. And they're finalizing the process of organizing the Chromebooks that were returned by students and preparing for the refresh rollout for the next school year. Child nutrition, Mr. Haynes and his staff, their summer meal programs are underway. They will remain underway until the 15th of August. There are 10 sites throughout the district where we use as feeding sites. We have production kitchens at East McDowell and West McDowell. We have staffing of approximately 12 employees and 5 delivery vans. The breakfast and lunch is offered at no cost to youth ages 18 and under, with exception to Early Head Start, which follows a separate set of guidelines. And events served this summer, summer school, Read to Achieve, camp invention, football camp, band, early Head Start, YMCA camps, Summer Bridge, DOT camp, Camp Opportunity, Camp Inferno, and K-12. So they've been very busy, and we appreciate all their hard work. With athletics, proud to report that we have a new sound system installed inside the gymnasium at McDowell High School. It sounds absolutely wonderful. We're very happy to get that modernized. Been working closely with our principals and athletic directors for field coaching vacancies, of which I mentioned Coach Gordon, proud to have her, with qualified candidates. And I will personally meet with ADs and fall coaches for both the middle school and the high school prior to the season's kicking off here for fall ball to outlay our expectations and to discuss any questions they may have. Again, auxiliary services, I'm just thrilled, as I mentioned earlier today, to have Mr. Jeff Vaughn. He has truly, in a sailor's term, hit the deck running. Very happy with his effort. We're finalizing the conversion at West McDowell to create the self-contained EC classroom. We're on track there to have that open prior to the beginning of school. We continue to work with FEMA, as Mrs. Rampy mentioned, and local contractors to remove debris. Army Corps of Engineers is removing debris as we speak in North Cove, as well as making repairs to areas that were damaged during Helene, specifically fencing projects that we're working to get reimbursement through our insurance agent. Also, the summer painting and flooring cleaning programs are ongoing, and the schools are looking refreshed and getting closer to ready to receive those babies. Pleasant Gardens Elementary, PG, is back to being a school of one, and the work to remediate the school is well underway. We're working with contractors to complete projects that are all going to be part of the $1 million grant that we were awarded this past spring, which include paving and striping the existing parking lots, performing drainage remediation and making necessary repairs, cleaning the interior of the school, painting the interior of the school, and installing new LVT flooring in areas that were damaged. And so we're going to give this school there, Mr. Shuford's group, a fresh start as they roll back in, and we're happy to do so. Old Fort Elementary, a thorough walkthrough was completed, as I reported to the board, on Tuesday, the 20th of May, by McDowell County Schools personnel, Principal Ward, and Belfour representatives. The result of that meeting was a 9-page comprehensive list that required remediation. Belfour, after some discussion, accepted the items that were on the list and have been working to resolve each of them. And so they've been working to try to get us ready to go. Since McDowell County Schools has received a certificate of completion for all items that were previously open from McDowell County Building Inspector, Mr. Jay Suttles, and this comes after I asked Mr. Vaughn to check with him to ensure that he concurred with my assessment of the school being safe and nearly ready for occupancy. McDowell County Schools also received an inspection report from North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services stating that the cafeteria, the kitchen for the cafeteria at Old Fort Elementary School is cleared to open. Remediation continues. However, HVAC is complete, and as I reported previously, an air quality inspection has been performed, and the area has been deemed safe for humans and animals. Flooring, Belfour has completed the installation of all flooring throughout the school. Walls, Belfour, McDowell County personnel have completed all of the walls, which includes painting. Casework and cabinetry, Belfour is still working to install several linear feet of backsplash that was damaged or missing during our walkthrough, and that was added to the punch list, and they expect that that'll be done within the next couple of weeks. We're waiting on the vendor to actually get that to them. The doors, there's a few items in there that they need to be finished from a locking perspective there, but all the doors have been hung and the equipment is on the doors. Verco, our furniture distributor, has already delivered all of the furniture that was damaged to replace, and they are moving into what they call phase 2, and that will be to take the equipment from where it has been put together or assembled and move it into the proper location. Structurally, I'll remind the board that an structural inspection was completed by a certified engineer in the building, and it was deemed structurally safe for occupancy. The grounds, we've done significant work on the grounds from McDowell County Schools personnel, the Army Corps of Engineers, Ashbridge Management, Logistics, and Holland and Hamrick with CVET, Topper Valley Engineering and Testing, and FEMA. Sediment testing was complete, and the results were deemed safe for humans and for animals. Grass has been resown and has been cut on several occasions. Playgrounds, sidewalks, the exterior of the building have all been pressure washed. An area of erosion that was identified in the rear of the school near Mill Creek and the adjacent walking track has been remediated to prevent further damage, and we are working with FEMA to recover payment. The flagpole in front of the school was damaged during Helene, and a new one has been ordered. We coordinated with the city of Marion and appreciate very much everything that we have received back from them and the town of Old Fort. But Marion sent us their street sweeper truck, and were very generous to clean the entire parking lot for us at no cost. McDowell County Schools personnel will work to restripe the parking lots after we complete our summer painting programs inside our schools. And McDowell County staff will prep a new area on campus there at Old Fort, which will include pouring a concrete pad where a new metal building will be placed that will hold the various items that support the custodian in the performance of his groundkeeping duties. Can we please show the video? This I asked Belfort to do, and it shows you some pretty graphic before and after pictures of Old Fort Elementary. This was inside the gymnasium. This was in the main hallway outside the gym. Again, inside the gymnasium. Another hallway by the elevator, the back hallway. Front parking lot, just days after folks begin to remediate the mud and dirt. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Gritt, I believe the items currently undone at Old Fort Elementary will be completed by contractors and staff very soon. And the completion of this work can be supervised by our facilities director, Mr. Jeff Vaughn, his staff, and the staff of Old Fort Elementary School. With this in mind, and after months of work and thorough inspections, it is my recommendation that beginning tomorrow, 15 July, we return Old Fort Elementary to its principal, Mrs. Jill Ward, for normal operations. Concludes my report. Take any questions you anybody has, sir.
Anybody have any questions? Mr. Suttles, Ms. Helms, or Mrs. Helms?
No.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
At this time, we need a quick break, recess. Dr. Britt would like to talk to some folks here in the presence of the room, so I'm going to allow him that opportunity, and we'll take a quick break.
Mhm. There's Volcano Bay. Let's take the girls over there. Over there is Volcano Bay.
All right, Mr. Hughes is up next with Alternative Schools Modification Accountability. Folks, this is under unfinished business. If you'll remember at our last work session, Mr. Hughes presented a couple of options to you tonight, and he's just back really to answer any questions and remind you which one that we are asking you to approve.
Yeah, good evening, Dr. Britt. Good evening, Board. Good to see you all again. Just wanted to reiterate that we're looking at the Alternative Schools Modified Accountability System. And last time I've explained those, but just quick review. Option A is the typical 80-20. Option B is a little bit different with 20% persistence, 20% achievement, and 60% with growth. And option C is figure out your own. And like I said last time, there are very, very few that have done that and been successful with it. And so as we've done in the past, my recommendation to you is to go with option C, and I believe that was Dr. Gritt's recommendation as well. So that's what I'm seeking action on tonight. Or option B.
No.
Sorry.
I was like, wait a minute, sir. I don't think my option was C.
We've never done before, and it's sort of like flying a plane before you build it. No, we're going to go with option B. My bad on that. I recommend option B, and that's what I'm seeking your approval for tonight.
And Mr. Hughes, option B, just to remind the board, that is what we did last year.
It is what we did last year, and it's what we've done prior when we had the AEC for 4 or 5 years over there until it incorporated into a different school.
Yes, sir. And that is my recommendation to the board.
Okay, we have a recommendation by Mr. Hughes and Dr. Gritt to go with option B on alternative schools modified accountability, and I'll entertain a motion to proceed with that at this time.
I recommend we go with option B.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Baker and a second by Mr. Barksdale to accept option B on the alternative schools modified accountability. Or is there any further discussion on that? Ms. Helms, anything from you?
No.
All those in favor signify by raising your right hand, which is Ms. Helms.
Affirmative.
Okay, so that's
Thank you.
thank you, sir. Okay, new business.
Okay, under new business, now we've got those policies that we've talked quite a bit tonight about. And board, that is the policies that I handed to several of you at Old Fort today, just to make sure you had updated. And just want to, before we start with that, want to thank Ms. Helms for her support in pulling the policy committee together, and for all those members and the work that y'all have done. This has not been a light amount of policies, so I appreciate all y'all's work, and I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Daddle to tell us about our first read.
Thank you, sir. To echo Dr. Grit, I'd like to thank Ms. Helms for helping to get our committee together to look through these. I'd also like to thank Mr. McGinnis. He has some really great questions throughout our policy meeting that prompted us to contact our attorneys just to get some clarification. Through that process, we were able to go ahead and get all of the changes that needed to be made to meet federal mandates through the executive order. So we were able to include that on this first read. And so once we vote, or you all vote on these policies to approve, we will have all of our policies that meet all federal and state requirements. So in your packet, and I'll do this very quickly, I have a little Reader's Digest version for you. And so this version just goes through and lists the policies, the name of the policies, and the authoritative source. So if you have, many of these are state law, so you'll have SL beside there. If it is federal law, you'll have what federal law requires that change. And it also gives you just a brief description of the change. So that's included in your packet if you want to look at that and reference that. In your notebooks, you will have the printout from our attorneys Campbell and Shatley that explain the changes in the policies. And so our the first part in your notebook are simply just the fall or the spring update. So anything that was updated in federal law, state law, any kind of general statute is reflected in those policies. We also have an additional policy, 9115, that is required by state law. We did not previously have that policy. At one time it was an optional policy, so we have added that in, as well as any update language to meet all federal mandates. So that is in the second half of your binder. So this is really great reading material, and I encourage you all to sit and study and look. No, but in seriousness, any changes that are made, anything that is read and marked through are changes that are required to make. Anything that is in blue is something that is an addition or a change specifically to the wording of that policy. The policy that we discussed this evening, as far as athletics, which is 3620, we did show the changes in that language within that policy as well. So if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. I will be happy to seek clarification. If I have the answer for you, then I'll give you that answer. If not, we do have a resource of our school board attorneys who have been done a great job for us in looking through these and vetting the changes that were made. Are there any specific questions for me?
Just a comment, board. Another area too, and we wanted to get ahead of House Bill. Can you help me out with that one?
Yes, 959.
Thank you.
Which has to do with mobile devices. Thank you, Dr. Grit, for bringing that up. Which has to do with mobile devices within the schools and in public schools. And so there was an amendment to House Bill 959, and it specifically states down here that the policy shall prohibit students from using, displaying, or having a wireless communication device turned on during instructional time. So what we did was take that specific language that was in that amendment and put that in the policy. So that is very, very clear of what the expectation is as far as mobile devices in the schools. We did get word that there would probably be a fall update to that policy, and so once that comes out, then we will work to update that policy. But right now, what we did was take the specific language from the amendment of that House bill, and we did infuse that into our current policy.
Let me reiterate, board, the language was not very different than what we already had in our policy, but it did specify that the device was to be basically off is what it
Yes.
meant. And it also specified when it was appropriate that it was on. One of those reasons for students who might be checking I'm pointing to my arm, that might be checking their blood
Their
sugar
Dexcom, yes,
with
sir.
their phones and different things like that. So there were a few reasons why there might be a phone. But in that, I want to also follow up on our conversations that we had about discipline within our schools as well, and just let you know that I've had those conversations with Miss Widman at the high school, and we've had conversations. They're already doing it at the middle school where they're keeping their phones in their backpack. So I will say that was Miss Widman's recommendation that they do the same at the high school. She wanted to, and she wanted to have a school improvement team meeting. After they did that, they felt like it would be a good idea to have a few times that students could check in with parents throughout the day. So what that's going to look like right now is phones would be in the backpack during class time, and they would come out during lunch, that the students would have an opportunity on their free time that they could potentially use their device there during lunch, and then that will allow them an opportunity to check in with mom and dad. Hey, we've got ball practice tonight. We don't have ball practice, or I'm doing this or that. So all those communications. The other time that we talked about was the last 5 minutes or so of the class in fourth period. Again, late bus, all the other reasons that you might need to communicate with a parent to a child. So that's where she landed on how they were going to, how they felt like they could best monitor this. And I'll tell you, when she talked with the teachers about it, the teachers felt really good about where they were, because they didn't like the idea of having to monitor to make sure you didn't have it in your pocket. So they felt like having it in a backpack or stowed away in a purse or something like that helped the teachers. And she, the funny thing, she took the time, even during the summer, to go over to the ROTC and have some conversations with the kids there. And I'll tell you, one of the kids said, "You're a new principal, and they're already not going to like you, but boy, they're really not going to like you when you have to put the phones up." He was real serious about it. But he also said something that was really important, and I think it was important for our it's going to be important for our teachers to hear, and that was, "We're going to follow the rules, ma'am," is what he said, "but if the teachers relax them, we're going to take advantage of it." And I thought, out of the mouth of babes, right? That's a 16, 17-year-old kid just telling you the truth. So the expectation has got to be set. And I think Miss Widman did a good job of taking notes from the kids. She took notes and feedback from the staff, and she's taken notes and feedback from our board. So we feel like that within her procedures in the student handbook, she'll be able to handle those, so we can keep our policy very broad, if you will. And that's why it reads the way it does. We talked about that in the policy committee as to what some of the reasonings would be. And I took y'all's feedback from the policy committee back to Ms. Widman, and that's when within the past week, those are all the things she's done to address that. I know, Dr. Klein, we're going to have some conversations about having some things consistent from school to school. But I feel like we're headed in the right direction with that policy. We will be getting this one in place before the beginning of school year starts. But the handbooks get printed now. So we needed to go ahead and kind of start getting ahead of some of this stuff, just like this one, as well as the athletics. Some of those things we can make a change if y'all change your mind, but we want to go ahead and start putting some of these things together so our principals have all the ammunition that they need. Leave anything out, Ms. Stidham?
No, sir. No, sir.
Board, do y'all have any questions? I know that was a lot.
Could you explain the consequences of repeat offenders? I remember someone saying that the phone would be taken and the parents would have to come retrieve the phone from the office?
Yes, sir. Off the top of my head, I don't know exactly what that is, but the discipline matrix that you guys were given today, you should be able to find it within
I think that might have been.
Yeah, and remember, you guys had asked about a copy of that. We didn't send it electronically, but I just made you a physical copy of it. You should be able to see it. Mr. Baker's nodding; he saw it somewhere.
Yeah, I think so. Do we still have a payphone in the cafeteria?
I don't think
I
so.
think that's what we have, and that might be a backup for some of them when they get their phones taken.
Sure.
You drove a 44 to school.
What?
You drove a 44 to school.
Yes, the payphone was still there when
Uh,
when I was in high school.
I'll tell you, I was at basketball camp the other day, and I was at basketball camp the other day, and one of the kids came up and they said my phone got taken. I guess they'd gotten in trouble at home, and they said, "Coach Franklin, can I borrow your phone?" And he just handed them his phone so they could make the call. I mean, that's really what ends up happening at this point, or they go to the office or wherever. We really just hadn't run into that in a long time.
I just like to say that this is refreshing to me, the code of student conduct, and I'm excited about the tightening up of what I think is going to happen. And Greg, you said here the fourth offense, administration confiscates the device until the end of the school day, and parents are notified of the administration. Parents must pick up the device. Yeah, and all the other things. I mean, I saw my election the other night, and I'm just passionate about our kids. We need discipline. And our kids need to feel safe. Teachers need to feel safe. I've had other teachers tell me that, well, some kids that may not carry it through. Well, they've got a boss too, and they just don't think it's that big a deal. We've all, Commander Marsh, you don't get to pick and choose in the military, do you? If you're going to obey, down the line, from the top to the bottom, you either get in line, or you're going to get. You won't get just 50 push-ups. You're going to get something, and that's the way it ought to be. I mean, love our teachers, but everybody needs to get on board, and I'm excited about it. If everybody will get on and will try to work hard at it, it won't be too hard on anybody.
There's no other questions. Thank you. Thank you again to the policy committee. I appreciate you all.
Ms. Helms, thank you so very much.
Well, thank you, and thank you, Ms. Dowdle, for all you do to keep us streamlined, and your Reader's Digest version is amazing. Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is we're talking about our school board meeting time change, and it's my understanding through a kind of a consensus of the board that we want to start at 4:30 from here on out. And at this time, I'll entertain a motion to change our starting time from 6 o'clock to 4:30 p.m. from here on out for the meeting.
So I want to get a clarification, please. Sir, are you talking about starting the closed session at 4:30?
Yes.
I think that's agreeable. So the meeting time will start.
Well, can we not just flow straight?
That was nice. Well, I don't know that if you wanted to flow straight through, move to somehow leave it covered. We won't necessarily show up at 4:30.
Okay, so you want to keep it like we did today?
Yeah, that was nice.
Okay, that's good. We'll just keep it like it is. We'll start closed session at 4:30. Is that the clarification?
Yes, sir. And are you comfortable with the agenda? Are you comfortable with the agenda being done the way it was today, where if we did not accomplish what we needed to do in closed session at 4:30, then we could have an agenda item that says as needed, like we did today?
I think we have to.
I think so.
I think we have to.
So if we finish and it's 5:30, can we go into
let's say we have quite a bit of business to handle, maybe one of those nights where we skip supper, right? Let's just be honest, we go right up till 6 o'clock, and then we open the doors, everybody comes in, and we end up having to go back into the closed session afterwards. So I think you'd be better served if you have a dedicated time. So that way I think we accommodate everybody. We accommodate the folks because we talked about work last time, and we also accommodate the board. And I know I'm looking over there at staff that looks pretty tired most of the time. Break or something. But normally they look a little beat down over there at about 9 or 10 o'clock.
Bet they're going home over there. Dog might bite you.
Well, if we don't get moving, we're not gonna make it. Okay, Mrs. Helms, do you have any objection to what we just discussed?
I do not.
Mr. Suttles, are you online now? Okay. All right. So I'll entertain the motion to keep it as is. We start our closed session at 4:30 and our regular meeting at 6, just like we did tonight. So anybody,
Okay. I'm a lot sharper at 7 than I am at 9.
Second, I second. Sorry.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Abernathy, a second by Mr. Barksdale about the changing of the meeting time, which in reality is not the meeting time, but the closed session part of it. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. And Ms. Helms, how are you?
Yes.
Okay, so that's an 8 vote.
Thank you.
Okay, and board reports, Mr. Suttles isn't here. Mr. Barksdale, Buildings and Grounds, do you have anything?
Yes, I have something real brief. Maybe have to take a little bit of, I think this would fall under me. Had several individuals in the community, especially in my neighborhood and several that live around there, that asked if there was any way possible for us to reopen the track at East. And I told them I would mention it. I don't know if it could be a time frame thing and then have, I know that if you use the community building, for example, you could open it up after school and then the police department can go by and lock it back up after a certain period of time. If y'all could just look at that. I told them I was not sure, but I do know that the problems we were having have really diminished in that area.
Yes, sir. And I think I will tell you that Mr. Rourke has reached out to Mr. Marsh and I about this exact same topic, and we're supposed to have lunch on Wednesday to have some conversation about it. He definitely feels like it's something that needs to be supervised, just because we still have to be cautious with the issues that we've had there at East. But that was something that he was considering how he might do that. So no promises on anything just yet, but know that they're working on that.
Thank you. That's all we have.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Shuford, anything financing, you've had your hands full tonight. So. Ms. Helms, likewise, you've had your hands full too. Is there anything you have?
No, I think McDowell did a good job presenting what we had talked about.
Mr. Shuford, anything from Head Start? NJROTC, Mr. Baker and Mr. McGinnis.
Well, we know we got the leadership lab coming up, or the leadership camps coming up. I believe it starts next week. And that'll be a week-long thing down in Kemwood Shield. And then they've got like just all kinds of things around the calendar. But that's the big thing going on right now.
Is Bud Shield next week?
I believe it starts on the 21st. But
If you could send
I'll put that in the weekly review.
anything.
He said, Sergeant Major said, first sergeant said that it would be better if you came down probably Wednesday, Thursday, something, you know, they were getting their ducks in a row and everything and working out Monday and Tuesday, and it would be better, and some of us planning on going down.
that in the weekly review, and certainly offer to drive down there too, and we can meet here and ride down if folks wanted to go. I apologize for not knowing the date right off the top of my head tonight, but we'll get it to you.
Okay, is that
Yes, sir.
it? Anything further from the board on the board reports? Okay, we'll move on to item number 12, approval of the consent agenda, and I want to remind you that any item may be pulled from the consent agenda with the majority vote of the board and discussed and voted on as a separate item. I'm not going to pull this from the agenda, but I would like a confirmation from Mr. Marsh and Ms. Rampy on child nutrition vendor contracts. We normally have, it comes in several years, the contract does, and we're just continuing on with the old one, so there's no raises or anything, and you both agree that we need to go along with this. Is that correct? Okay, board, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as printed. Unless anybody wants one pulled.
I'll make a motion.
We have a second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Allison and a second by Mr. Baker. Is there any further discussion on the approval of the consent agenda? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. And Ms. Helms?
Aye.
Okay, that's an 8 vote. Okay, and we don't need a continuation of the closed session, but we do need action on closed session items. I'll entertain a motion to approve personnel considerations, certified, non-certified, and the superintendent contract.
Make a motion for personnel considerations,
Superintendent contract. Second. Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Shuford to accept personnel considerations, and the 3 items that we discussed, second by Mr. Abernathy. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Okay, is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. And what about Ms. Helms?
Yes.
Okay, that's an 8 vote. All right, and announcements, Board of Education regular session meeting August 11th, no work session, correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
Great. Okay, anybody have anything? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion. Second.
Okay.
Let's get her done.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Abernathy, a second by Mr. Baker to adjourn. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Ms. Helms, you with us?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, at 7:23.
Have a great time, Miss Ham.
Oh, thank you.
Be careful.
Okay.